The scream must have rattled my entire office as I was caught before I hit the ground. There were faces all around me, some crying, some actionable, some bewildered. I don't have a clicker. I'm going to do it again. The scream must have rattled my entire office as I was caught before I could hit the ground. There were faces all around me, some crying, some bewildered, some actionable. Things kept happening to me. But this was my worst fear realized. The only child of a single doting mother. A miracle baby. We were a unit. No matter how far into the world either of us went, we remained tethered to each other, inseparable. I had walked across the open space and through to the materials library. I had taken many a personal phone call there, but this time I answered to a stern but timid voice. Kosh, a nickname that only people in my family called me. Kosh, your mom died. The weight of the world was on my shoulders. I didn't have words, I couldn't breathe. This was the one thing that could truly divide us, and I was powerless in its face. Months later, I returned to Portland, still heartbroken, a rumbling consistently and persistently in my stomach. I had moved to Portland almost 5 years ago to retreat from the hustle and bustle that is New York City, and I wanted to find respite there again. And so I took to the streets, happy and expectant, and walked downtown, only to find a leveled mound of sand and gravel where one of my favorite food carts used to be. And across the street, at the larger outpost where all of my favorite food carts were still hanging on, a placard in the ground, a notice of public hearing. A building was to be built at the major intersection of my design education and my blossoming design career. It was a place where I ate almost every day I went to school, and then again as I went to work. It was a place where I saw immigrant communities create businesses, form community, and reach for the American dream. I saw them learn English and teach Vietnamese. I was enraged. How could this happen? Who got to decide that this place, this ecosystem, was not the highest and best use of this land? Who got to decide that this place where people put in their sweat equity and their social equity was expendable, was trade for a Ritz-Carlton hotel in Portland? I had resigned that I had no power over matters of life and death, but as a practitioner of a craft that shaped and formed the built environment, I had to have power over what I saw as the erosion of the urban fabric, the erosion of community values, and the erosion of the small business. I knew that architectural firms, try as they might, did not have power in this space. That we often acquiesce to this Oz-like entity, the developer. But who was this developer, leveling authenticity, community, and changing the face of Portland? A developer is a ubiquitous term. We hear it all over nowadays. But what does it mean? A developer is usually somebody, a visionary, or an opportunist, who takes on risk in exchange for concentrated benefits that they exchange and give back to their stakeholders, their investors, people who are usually already rich, and so they enrich the rich and leave the rest of us with the cost of doing business, the unintended consequences. But what if a developer made a conscientious effort to disaggregate benefit? What if a developer placed value in the pioneers who see a need or a niche and fill it, who dream of a little bakery or coffee shop or salon, and do all that they can to make that a dream? Those people who take a little bit of their culture and bring it to their new home by way of a food cart. What if a developer put the small businesses who are the thread weaving our neighborhoods together, creating our identity, making our cities the vibrant metropolises we all choose to call home first? So I did. I chose to become that developer and launch my business, Fifth Element. Fifth Element is a conscientious real estate developer that fortifies small businesses through property ownership. You see, most small business owners rent where they live and rent where their small business is located, putting them in a tenuous position between market fluctuations and sometimes insatiable landlords who raise the rent after they have added value to that space. For a small business, this can be the end of that dream. It can shutter their doors, cause them to fire their employees, and move them out of that community that they have built roots in. For 59% of retailers, they worry about the escalating cost of rent, and 1 in 4 cite it as the top challenge to the viability of their business. So what happens when that small business owner is displaced? They are sometimes left with debt and no business at all, or they can relocate to a new old space in a community that has not yet been slated for development, someplace they can afford. And that now used to be vibrant storefront looks like this. This is actually a place in my community. I've lived in Portland for almost 6 years this November, and it's been vacant the entire time. 5 years it's been vacant. That means that it's become a burden on the adjacent businesses and a scourge to the community. So when this kind of effort is compounded, entire cities lose. So how do we extricate small businesses from this destabilizing cycle and simultaneously stabilize communities? Property ownership. Fifth Element seeks to stabilize these businesses through property ownership. You see, ownership breeds wealth, and wealth breeds power. And what is power but the ability to make decisions for yourself and others, or your community? See, a typical developer builds a building and/or renovates one and puts up a for lease sign. They say, who wants to rent here? Who can afford this? But unlike traditional developers, Fifth Element curates to create ecosystems. We start with the businesses. We get 3 to 5 businesses who, by working in closer proximity together, will benefit from accrued shared benefits. We start with an anchor owner, somebody who has the ability to occupy 30% of a building, 30 to 40% of a building, and they own that space. And we pivot off of them. Who's their clientele? Who do they already work with? Who else would benefit from sharing that ecosystem with them? Who would benefit from being stronger and better by being together? Fifth element also focuses on women-owned businesses. You can see by my renderings, there are only women in these images. But why? Women-owned businesses have a harder time scaling and growing in this economy. It's much harder for women-owned businesses to secure financing and funding and for them to grow. This is compounded for communities of color, where finding funding is much more difficult. So, and even the thought of property ownership is something that they've never even conceived of. How could this be possible for me? And so we've also created Fifth Element Foundation, in which we enroll small businesses in a 7-month course that helps shepherd them through to property ownership, whether it's with us or somebody else. Because giving them this access to ownership is a pathway to wealth creation. Right now, women-owned businesses are the fastest growing sector in America. From 2007 to 2018, the number of women-owned businesses increased by 58% to total 12.3 million firms, or 40% of privately owned enterprises. That's pretty amazing. Considering in 1972, there were only 400,000 women-owned businesses in America. We've come leaps and bounds. These women-owned businesses employ 9.2 million people and add $1.8 trillion to the US economy. Women-owned businesses are doing well, and so are, to some degree, minority women-owned businesses. While the rate of growth for non-minority women, or all women-owned businesses, has been 58%, across the board, the rate of minority women entering entrepreneurship has increased exponentially, with Black women having a 172% increase in the same time span. That's 2007 to 2018. Black women now comprise 20% of all women-owned businesses. That's 2.4 million entrepreneurs. So it seems like women-owned businesses are doing great, right? It seems like that. But when you look at annual revenue, there's a huge disparity. Non-minority women-owned businesses in 2007 had a net annual revenue of $180,000, whereas women of color only had $88,000. By 2018, the disparity grew. Non-minority women-owned businesses were able to net $210,000, whereas women of color declined. This seems very suspicious, given that in 2007 to 2009, we were in the Great Recession, right? By 2018, we're in a pretty substantial, pretty stable market. Why is it that their businesses are declining in revenue? Is it that their industries that they're entering are different? No. They're pretty identical across the board. The reason is a lack of funding and a lack of access to capital. Black women-owned businesses currently only receive 0.006% of venture capital funding. That is less than 1% to average $42,000, whereas a regular startup, including non-minority women-owned businesses, is $1.14 million. And that's just VC funding. When Black women-owned businesses try to get traditional modes of funding and they go to their local banks, they're faced with the problem of low income and low wealth. Black women, as we know, only earn 61 cents to every dollar. The Black family has $57.30 to every $100 that a white family has in income. And it only gets wider, this gap only gets wider as we start to talk about wealth. For every $100 that a white family has, a medium Black family only has $5.04. $5.04. That means that the median wealth of a white family is $140,000. A Black family's wealth is $7,000, and a Latinx family's wealth is $6,000. So when you go to the bank, I'm sure some of you have tried to purchase a home before, or your business owners have started businesses. You go to the bank and you have to fill out that paperwork that asks you to list your liabilities versus your assets. What would that look like if your median family income was $7,000? What kind of funding would they give you? What kind of loan would you get? Oftentimes it's predatory. The interest rates are higher, they're more risky debt. And so you find that when it comes time to scaling a business or trying to grow it, these women of color are looking and tapping into their 401ks. They're often still working a regular 9 to 5, and this small business has to be a side hustle. It's segmenting and supplementing the other 39 cents that they're missing in the economy. And so oftentimes people say, well, why not have a viable friends and family round? That's supposed to be the litmus test for whether your business idea is viable, right? But if that's your community, then your friends and family typically have the same wealth as you do. And compound that with institutional policies like redlining, urban renewal, and population control strategies such as single-family zoning, something that we're currently grappling with now in Portland. You see, you look at this, it says, I have to turn around to read it. This is a deed from 1913 in Laurelhurst neighborhood in Portland. It says, nor shall the same or any part thereof be in any manner used or occupied by Chinese, Japanese, or Negroes, except that persons of said races may be employed as servants by residents. The reason why white families have this much wealth is because they didn't have these barriers to home ownership. They were able to have their grandfather or their great-great-grandmother own a home and have those home values accrue over time. And even when Black families were able to purchase homes, they were purchased in designated areas that, due to redlining, were said to be in decline and didn't need investment. It was a waste to invest in those communities, right? And so then the rate of accrual of value and of money and of equity that you have in those homes is way less. So how do we, I ask again, extricate these small business owners, these women small business owners, these minority small business owners from the cycle that they're currently trapped in? Well, they need money, right? And they need assets. It starts with wealth. And so Fifth Element is trying to create a situation where communities are able to create generational wealth. Right now, it is projected that it'll take 228 years to close the racial wealth gap. I will be dead, my kids will be dead, my kids' will be dead, right? But if we have to start now, and we have to start somewhere. When, at this moment, millennial entrepreneurs are set to outpace boomers right now. By the end of this year, millennials will be the largest population in America. And so, Fifth Element and millennials in that large 172% African American or Black small business owner growth, millennials represent the largest demographic. And so Fifth Element finds it prudent to meet these entrepreneurs where they are. You're already starting a small business. How do we interject even more wealth into what you're already doing? How do we do that? By enabling you to have property ownership. If those small businesses were able to have the same amount of resources and the same amount of funding that their non-minority women business owners had, they would create additional 4 million jobs and another $1.2 trillion to the U.S. economy. You see, when small businesses